While last year Assumption Day was celebrated amid tighter restrictions from the COVID-19 pandemic, this year will look a little bit different. Nyaruguru District Administration has announced that with strict COVID-19 preventive measures, a limited number of local and international pilgrims will be allowed at the Kibeho Holy Land to celebrate the Assumption Day. Ahead of Assumption Day, celebrated on the 15th, Rwandans and pilgrims across the world are making their way to Kibeho to be part of the day's celebration, and some have already set camp there. A cross-section of residents has gladly welcomed the opportunity to celebrate and vow to adhere to all the set guidelines. This is a very important day in my life because it's also my birthday. At the same time, I celebrate my feast day. The fact that we didn't celebrate last year, it was such a loss to us as Christians, but now that we're able to come here is such a joy today. We will be able to pray, but in strict adherence to the guidelines by wearing our face masks and practicing social distance. As you can see the setup, we thank God for our leaders who think of our safety while enabling us to celebrate this day.
Bikaba byanatanze umusaruro yo ku munsi tubasha kuba turi hano.
Badufunguriye tukaza hano.
We are so glad that this year we will be able to celebrate Assumption Day after missing it last year. We are aware that the pandemic is still around, and so we will celebrate in observance of the guidelines. As you can also see, people are wearing face masks and they're sanitizing and practicing social distance. While still in the spirit of Assumption Day, Father Harerimana Francois, the rector of the Sanctuary of Our Lady of Kibeho, joins us via telephone to discuss with us about the atmosphere. Good evening, Father Francois. We seem to have lost Father Francois, but we will try and get back to him a little later. Moving on, Rwanda's Ministry of Health has urged the citizens to keep complying with measures in place to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Youth volunteers have also noted that even though people are changing their mindset regarding the fighting of the spread of the virus, more efforts need to be made in making the public more aware. Let's now hear from Ghislaine Mugwaneza.
Different people across Kigali City do not respect measures in place to fight the spread of COVID-19. They all mention that they are aware of the pandemic severity, though they do not practice measures to fight COVID-19.
The measures to fight COVID-19 is to help and remind others to wear face masks properly. You have just phoned me buying a new one because the mask I had wasn't fitting me well.
However, youth volunteers say they still face challenges, but also mention that people's mindset had changed. It was hard in first days, but people are slowly understanding due to the days we are passing through. Those who used to neglect the measures are now aware of the need to continue fighting the spread of COVID.
Challenges are still being found, especially in washing hands and wearing face masks. There are those that cannot wash their hands unless you are watching over them, which means that it is really a problem.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Daniel Ngamishe, has said that the non-compliance leads to the rise in COVID-19 infections, which makes it hard even in treating the cases.
This means that the problem still exists. We should keep on practicing measures in place. People should know that COVID-19 is still here. It is just that the more we respect measures in place, the more the numbers keep on reducing. Then we are able to fight it without having many patients in hospitals that we are not able to take care of, as well as having many deaths. We do not want to reach that stage. That is why people should not neglect measures just because more activities have got reopened.
Figures from the Ministry of Health indicate that in the last 7 days, new cases positivity rate decreased from 5.4% to 4.4%, and 938 have died due to COVID-19 related complications across Rwanda. Ghislaine Mugwaneza, RTV News.
Many thanks, Ghislaine. Now, as we had earlier mentioned to you, that preparations are underway in Nyaruguru district ahead of Assumption Day. Father Harerimana Francois joins us to discuss with us more about that. Good evening, Father Francois. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes. Good evening to everybody.
Joining us. Could you perhaps start by telling us what the atmosphere is right now at the Holy Land of Kibeho, and how prepared are you to receive people tomorrow?
The atmosphere is good, even though we are fearing this pandemic of COVID-19. But let me first remind that tomorrow we are celebrating the Assumption of Mary. That is the bodily taking up of Mary, the mother of Jesus, into heaven at the end of her earthly life. And this feast is solemnly celebrated in Kibeho since 15th August 1982, by the time of apparitions of the Virgin Mary here in Kibeho.
Yeah,
but now we cannot celebrate outside, only inside, welcoming only 30% of the capacity of the church. That is almost 200 people inside. But very happy to celebrate this solemnity.
Absolutely. And how does it feel? Could you perhaps tell us how it feels to be able to welcome people and congregants to the Holy Land of Kibeho, after a year of COVID-19, and in particular, how significant is this at such a time?
Yeah, I didn't maybe get very well the question about the fight against the COVID-19 here in Kibeho.
Just to clarify a little bit, Father Francois, I was asking, how does it feel as the rector of the sanctuary? How does it feel to be able to welcome congregants back to congregate again and celebrate this very important day in the Catholic Church, especially as the country and the entire world grapples with the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes, after days and days of expectation, waiting for the moment the church will be reopened, today, really, we started to rejoice in this celebration of the Assumption of the Virgin Mary. As you know, last times before this pandemic, we used to welcome many people here, more than even 50,000. But today, we are using the social networks in such a way Kibeho will join people at home, and the message will be spread from Kibeho through the social networks, through television and radio, as you are helping us to make known the message of the Virgin Mary that is destined to the whole humanity.
How many people do you expect to receive?
That this pandemic will finish.
Well, Father Francois, let's leave it at that for today. We thank you for your time, and we're wishing you very wonderful and safe celebrations tomorrow.
Thank you very much. And we'll be praying for every Rwandese, for our country, for the whole world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and good evening. Well, that was Father Francois Harerimana, the rector of the Sanctuary of Our Lady of Kibeho, speaking to us about the preparations ahead of Assumption Day tomorrow.